various tasks that law enforcement officers have to do to get their jobs done and get their jobs done safely, both for the community and for themselves, for officer safety. The last time that the agency had funding to do a job task analysis and revise these standards was in 1998, so they're almost 20 years old. We do offer training. We do offer training on fair and impartial policing. It is one of our most highly requested trainings, but we are only able to offer it in a limited fashion. We've done it through AG funds when we had them and other federal funds when we had those. So as director of the agency, I would tell you that this curriculum is badly in need of upgrades. It would allow us to get this more current information, including things like de-escalation and fair and impartial policing principles, into our basic curriculum so that all new officers in the Commonwealth can receive this training.
I'm sorry, do you need this bill in order to do that, or do you need the $500,000?
The bill, quite frankly, modernizes the language and includes the word engage at the request of members of the public who see policing as a partnership in their communities. And the funding is going to allow us to update the curriculum and then implement this training, which we want to do. And I don't want to do a finance speech, but through our local criminal justice academies is where the training would
I have one other question for others. It's my understanding that the police academies are already doing this sort of training. Is that not correct?
They are doing, again, they're doing some of this as resources permit. I would offer that our academies are pretty pressed for funds as well. So I would offer it as a patchwork. It happens in some places more often in better resourced communities than it does in poorer resourced communities. Our regional training academies are typically under-resourced and dependent on DCJS providing the training or some other funding to provide that training.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator,
I guess that your answer concerns me more than I was originally there. So you're saying today that DCJS has not found it to be a priority because this is one of the highest listed items of training and put it as a requirement. It's just a patchwork of letting the criminal services, the academies do it as they want to.
Forgive me, Senator, let me try to clarify. It is a priority for the department. It has been a priority for me as director. We have asked for support for this in previous years, and we can't do the job task analysis and develop the curriculum to push out to the academies so that they can do this. Yes, law enforcement is trained, but they are trained to standards that were modern when they were implemented 20 years ago.
So, Mr. Chairman, so from that answer, I'm interpreting what you just said is y'all do have the authority to put these standards out, but you don't feel you have the financial resources to put the standards out.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
any other questions of the witnesses or the taken? Senator Lucas, do you have those who'd like to speak in support of it?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Please go on.
Robert Barnett. I'm the political action, I'm on the political action team of the Virginia State Conference NAACP. We support this bill.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to speak in support? If not, are there those who'd like to speak in opposition? And it's up to the committee. Any operates on the motion?
Move for report. Second.
Any discussion? Motion probably seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. No.
Senator Sasloff,
Aye by proxy.
Senator Norman, Senator Howell,
Aye.
Senator Lucas,
Aye.
Senator Edwards,
Aye.
Senator McDougal, Senator Stewart, Senator Stanley,
Aye.
Senator Reeves,
Aye.
Senator Chapin? Senator Deeds? Senator Sturtevant?
Yes.
Senator Peterson?
Yes.
Senator Peake?
No.
Senator Obenshain? 9-6, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Senate Bill 1039. We discussed it last week, and one or two members wanted to look at it more closely. But just to refresh your memory, last year on protective orders, we said people who had family abuse protective orders against them could not possess a gun. This expands it to other permanent protective orders, including, for example, stalking, which is currently not covered, and which I think any woman will tell you is one of the most frightening and dangerous situations you can be in. It also would cover permanent protective orders for sexual battery, for rape, and for assault and battery. This bill, as I said, only deals with permanent protective orders, and it's for those that are non-family abuse protective orders.
Thank you very much. Anybody have questions of the patron? Anybody wish to speak briefly in favor of this bill? Steve, before, go ahead, Steve.
Mr. Chairman, we need this is a technical amendment. And the amendment would be on line 24, after the word entered, insert on or after July 1, 2016. And then on the same line, after the new or,
16 or 17?
on line 24, still on line 24.
On line 24.
After the word entered, insert on or after July 1, 2016, yes, because that's when that became effective. And then, continuing on the same line, 24, after the word or, and before 19.2, insert on or after July 1, 2017, pursuant to. And then finally, on that same line, after the word issued, insert after those respective dates.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt those amendments in block? Been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Those amendments are adopted.
Mr. Chairman, speaking in favor of the bill, Ron Rand, Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security. You heard from me last week, so I'm trespassing too much of your time. I walked through all of the statistics with respect to our due diligence to implement the law that was passed last year. All of the stakeholders have been very much engaged in implementing this law successfully. What this does now, a year later, is that we're expanding it to full protective orders of non-family abuse, and Senator Howell has walked you through the specifics of those types of bills. We've had success with the family abuse nature of the bill's application, and now we're expanding it. About 2,600 such protective orders, and again, full.
I'll make a deal. We did this last year.
There was a great deal of negotiation, Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
So you're coming back for more this year?
That's correct.
All right. Just checking.
Good thing, and such way I'd like to expand it, that is correct.
All right.
But just for the purpose of the members, this was a little different from what we talked about. This is just with respect to the protective orders, non-family abuse, full nature, and Mr. Benjamin and others have made the retroactivity change, so that's the community support bill.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Christine Hall, Virginia Sexual Domestic Violence Action Alliance. I'm here to ask you to support this bill. This closes a gap in terms of what we mean by intimate partner violence. Virginia's current definition of family abuse does not capture all instances of intimate partner violence, which is which is a reason why the policy decision was made last year. And a good example of this would be college students who are in a violent dating relationship would not be eligible for the Family Abuse Protective Order and would have to seek a protective order through the General District Court. So this would apply these same protections to college students and those who are in violent, dangerous relationships seeking a protective order, and this would ensure that they have access to the same protections when they experience the same level of violence. Senator Howell already spoke to it, also apply to victims of stalking and sexual assault where that's not occurring in an intimate partner relationship or a family abuse relationship. So we would ask that you support this bill to close that loophole to protect all victims of intimate partner violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Sushila Varghese on behalf of Virginia Poverty Law Center, and I support this bill.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Holly Smith, Gloucester County Commonwealth Attorneys, Virginia Commonwealth Attorneys Association. We would like to support this bill and would also make mention that this certainly brings all protective orders consistent with the efforts made by this body last year, and it certainly is adding a final protective order is the logical and rational extension of this, so we would absolutely support this bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Dana Schroeder, Police Chiefs. We support this legislation. It brings some real clarification to the issue of the possession of the firearm and the transfer that was a little murky in the previous legislation, so we feel like this brings some clarification to that, and when they have to turn the firearm over and then notify the courts that they have done so. So we support the legislation.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, does the substitute do that?
You took that out. I apologize. Overall, we support though the legislation that in this current form also because it does clarify that the protective orders apply against all persons that should, and so we support the legislation for those purposes as well.
All right.
Good morning, Lori Haas with the Educational Fund Step Elements. We support the bill wholeheartedly for all reasons stated. Thank you.
Anybody wish to speak in opposition to the bill?
Philip Van Cleve, UCDL, we oppose any expansion of this.
International Rifle Association, we oppose this legislation. A major concern of creating a firearm prohibition based on orders issued under this section is that these orders do not require a special relationship between the petitioner and the respondent. We remind the members of the committee that the entire justification for the federal protective order prohibition is the existence of a direct relationship between the victim and the offender, and that may keep the victim from being a willing participant in a criminal trial. Further, everyone understands the problems associated with these dynamics. Under this bill, none of these dynamics are present. We might be talking about perfect strangers. Where there's no direct relationship present, those difficulties associated with the domestic setting are mitigated. A criminal prosecution against the alleged perpetrator is much more likely, which ultimately will provide for much greater incapacitation than a protective order. Even further with this in mind, I point out that we are talking about a 2-year prohibition on firearm possession under this section of code. Under such an order, this will issue where the petitioner has proven that they have been subject to an act of violence, force, or threat by a preponderance of evidence, not the usual criminal standard of beyond a reasonable doubt, but a more lenient standard typically applied in civil cases. I remind the members of the committee that judges can already have the authority to restrict firearm possession on a case-by-case basis under the existing law. A judge can order any relief where it is necessary to prevent acts of violence, force, or threat, or criminal offenses that may result in injury to person or property. In other words, it's within the judge's discretion to take care of this problem where it's appropriate to do so. We do not believe that a categorical prohibition is truly in the interest of justice when it comes to an individual's constitutional right. Moreover, individuals subject to a protective order issued under this section are already prohibited from purchasing or transporting firearms and must surrender the concealed handgun permit. To be clear, the NRA does not support the premise or idea that those who pose a real danger to others should be allowed to possess a firearm. Current law recognizes that judges properly have within their discretion the ability to intercede and impose such restrictions where appropriate. That's why we oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? The bill
report. Second. I believe it needs to go to finance, though.
There's a motion to report the report of finance. Senator Stewart? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Senator Chafin, you've got a, I think, a simple 1889. Waiving concealed handgun permit fees for retired probation and parole officers. Do anything more than that?
That's all it is, Mr. Chairman. If they have 15 years service.
And it's a pleasure of the committee to report this to East Coast Finance. Anything further you feel you need to say? Is there a motion?
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded that we reported and re-referred to Senate Finance. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Mr. Chair, that one's going to finance.
I also have 1217. This is my chair.
I don't think that's all right today, is it?
It was referred, that was supposed to be had an explanation.
All right, Senator, let's do Senator Edwards' side, 915. I think we've,
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, under federal law, licensed federal firms, dealers are required to do a background check before they can sell. These are typically bricks and mortar stores. There are others, though, I'm advised, that go from gun show to gun show. They're doing the same thing with large quantities of guns. What this would say is if you're acting like a dealer, acting like a merchant, as defined by the Uniform Commercial Code, then you should do a background check as well, which wouldn't be difficult to do at a gun show because we passed the voluntary background check law last year at gun shows. So it's very simple, easy to do. What this does is provide a level playing field between those bricks and mortar gun stores and those people who are doing it, but not selling it in a particular spot and don't have a federal firearms license. That's really what it does. It's easy for them to do, and it does not, what it does not do is certainly not a universal background check. It's certainly not a bill that says individuals can't sell to their friends, or that they can, a person, if they want to unload their collection of guns at a gun store, they can still do it, as long as they're not doing it on a regular routine basis.
so this, this doesn't have anything to do with routine. This pertains to any transaction except to a family member or personal friend. Any
No.
other transaction.
No, it doesn't say, it's notwithstanding the foregoing, unless otherwise required by federal law, an individual who transfers a firearm to a family member or personal friend by inheritance, operational law, et cetera, for a temporary purpose not be required to do a background check. But what this does do, any person not licensed dealer who conducts business as a merchant of firearms for valuable consideration may not sell a firearm to a buyer without having a background check of the buyer conducted by a federally licensed firearm dealer. The second sentence,
That's business
It's
as
just-
a merchant.
Yeah.
Could that involve one sale, two sales, three sales?
under the Uniform Commercial Code, is the dealer in goods of that kind for commercial purposes.
Does it have to be a good dealer? I mean, one who's able to sell a lot?
purposes of the section, a merchant is defined under the Uniform Commercial Code 8.2-104. And the section C there just makes it really clear that, you can sell anything else, as long as you're not a merchant. In fact, C is probably not necessary. That was in there as a safeguard to make it clear you can continue to sell unless you are a merchant. Merchant is defined by the Uniform Commercial Code.
And this is the same bill that introduced last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Passed by this committee, definitely.
I'm not sure it got a full hearing yet last year, but in any event, the idea is to follow the Uniform Commercial Code as to what a merchant is, a dealer in goods of that kind who does it for commercial purposes, not these occasional sales or to families and friends or whoever you want to sell it to. It's certainly not a universal background check bill.
All right. Anybody want to speak very briefly in support of this bill?
Mr. Chairman, Joshua Lawrence, Education Fund Stock Gun Bonds. As I recall, one of the things I like about this bill is that we support the bill. It has a right line on what merchants are, as I recall from discussions last year. Merchants are someone who sells goods on a regular basis, but also holds themselves out as experts in the field, so it's well defined by lots of case law. I think it's good because the onus is only on the seller, it's not on the purchaser. Federal law allows these types of things. The federal law is always a floor in this area, it's not a ceiling, so Virginia can add that. And we had lots of discussions about the John Riggins test on some of these other bills. This clearly passes the John Riggins test, that John Riggins could pass the guns on shotguns to his offensive line without becoming a merchant.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Andrew Ballard, Virginia Center for Public Safety. We support the bill. We have plenty of videographic and other evidence showing that there are many people who are bypassing the federal law, getting a license and selling guns in large quantities in Virginia without even attempting to get a federal firearms license.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Lori House with the Educational Fund to Stop the Gun Violence. We support the bill. And again, to reiterate, this bill is aimed at those persons who are engaged in the business. They're regularly selling, they're regularly showing up. Law enforcement are at gun shows already. They can identify these people. They have the, means with which to identify them. They're not going after occasional sellers. These are people engaged in the business that should be required to get a license and a background check. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Lynn Harris, and I support the bill.
Thank you very much. This is wish to speak in opposition to the bill, please, sir.
Philip Van Cleve, VCBL. The federal government already dealing with this very slippery issue is where that line is drawn between somebody that's just casually selling a gun every now and then and when they're actually trying to make money over it. We really don't want to step into that quagmire. Let the federal government's definition work with this. We oppose the bill. We see it more as an arm twist to get to universal background checks because you'll fear, oh, I'm going to sell a gun, but what if somehow they feel that I'm a dealer? And I think we oppose that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Jump the gun.
Thank you, sir. So Victoria Cocker, Deputy Secretary for Public Safety and Homeland Security, on behalf of the administration and in agreement with the previous supporters' comments, we also support Senator Edwards' bill.
Thank you. All right, the bill's before us. Motion report and properly seconded substitute motion is to pass bill by indefinitely. Call roll.
Senator Stanislaw?
No.
Senator Norman? Yes. Senator Howell?
No.
Senator Lucas?
I'm sorry. No, my God.
Senator Edwards?
No.
Senator McDougal? Yes. Senator Stewart? Senator Stanley?
Yes.
Senator Reeves?
Yes.
Senator Chapin?
Yes.
Senator Dees? Senator Sturtevant?
Yes.
Senator Peterson? Senator Peake?
Yes.
Senator Obenshain?
Correct, Senator.
9-6.